Welcome to Destination Marriage, a podcast about successfully navigating the winding roads of marriage. Whether you are looking to get married, you are engaged, newly married, or have been married for years, we want to share with you how we have successfully navigated those winding roads over the past 18 plus years.
Join us on this journey as we discuss real-life experiences, both highs and lows, and what we have learned along the way. Happiness, grace, passion are some of the things we all strive for in marriage, and we invite you to take this journey with us. Welcome to Destination Marriage.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Destination Marriage. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Tommy.
And today we're going to talk about something we love to do, which is traveling, but more specifically, traveling with other couples. We know how we like to travel. Obviously, we've been traveling together as husband and wife for years, but how do you ensure that a trip goes well when traveling with other couples? We're going to kind of go and have a little bit of a just conversation around that. We've never had a disaster. Obviously, we've traveled with other friends, with other couples.
Yeah.
We've maybe had minor hiccups, as far as, reservations or what have you. But, just having this conversation now, especially because, we've been quarantined due to the coronavirus.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we have some cabin fever and we're
here.
like really chomping at the bit to plan a trip with some of our friends. So what would you say, now that we're kind of sitting down and thinking about, oh my gosh, as soon as we were able to just get out and plan a trip, what would you say is the first thing that we should really look at based on our experience? What's the first thing you would suggest?
I think you absolutely have to just come to an agreement on what everyone's comfortable spending on the trip.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is going to vary wildly compared to, just depending on, not necessarily economic status, but what couples are comfortable spending. Some people maybe
your budget
do really well, but they just really don't like to take expensive trips.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not their forte. So for us, we would rather skimp on other stuff in order to go to a better trip. That's kind of our general philosophy when it comes to trips. But I think budget and being realistic and just kind of having an open conversation, whether it's guy to guy or girl to girl, whatever it is, just say, hey, here's what we were thinking of spending. What do you guys think? Yeah.
And because that's really going to, once you decide on what your budget's going to be and kind of, across the board know, okay, we've allotted this amount and maybe so have they, or whatever that looks like, that's really going to determine, the next thing, which would be,
that drives
where you're going, your location.
Exactly. The location and how long you guys want to go. So what are your thoughts? And you tend to be the location finder. When we go on trips, we talk about it, we discuss it ourselves, or we discuss it between ourselves, and then, but with respect to scouting out the location, you kind of tend to run with that. So what do you think? Tell me about how that conversation with others.
Yeah, well, I think, like you said earlier, everyone's kind of different as far as travel, where that lies as far as the level of importance, for them, or where they want to place their hard-earned dollars. And for us, it's at the top of the list. So I'm always reading, different magazines or, looking up hotspots, what's up, where everyone wants to go next, or maybe what no one knows about, kind of that hidden gem. So I feel like I always have kind of a running list of places, so I can always kind of pick something pretty quickly. But I think really what helps me determine location is going to be the length of time, of course, and the budget. Yeah. Not everyone has flexibility with their job, and so they may be really limited. So for us, it could be, especially where we live, kind of tricky as far as how we're going to get from point A to point B. And, we don't have a large international airport, so we really have to keep that in mind. But I try to choose a location, really that's going to best align with the budget. And then also, what do we prefer as far as, the type of vacation it's going to be? Is it going to be an adventurous trip where we, are constantly active and we're doing new things, like going on a snorkeling trip, or, are we going to, do a hike somewhere?
Lay on the beach.
Or, are we going to lay on the beach and go somewhere we're just literally just shoving our faces with food and baking in the sun? Those are hugely different.
Right.
Typically you and I like to stay active.
To a degree.
To a degree, yeah.
Depends on the trip, too. And that's why I think it's really important to have this conversation up front. Because for us, our kind of getaways have sort of evolved over time.
Yeah.
Where now we go to escape versus maybe when the kids were younger, all of our trips were very much adventurous and go, depending on who we were traveling with as well.
Yeah, but you and I don't really go all inclusive. That's kind of boring for us. We like to try new restaurants. I mean,
but we also,
stuck at the same
sometimes
place.
when we go on a trip, it's to sit at the beach and drink cocktails all day.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not interested
I just don't like to be stuck at the same restaurant every day.
No,
every
I completely
morning
agree. No, I completely agree.
evening.
So I think it's really important there is to really set that expectation with the other couple and say, hey, here's what we like to do, and they maybe say, here's what we like to do. Come to a compromise. You know, maybe they do some of the stuff you want to do, and vice versa.
Yeah, be flexible.
Because especially if it's like a 3 or 4 day trip, there's nothing worse than to stare at each other and be like, "What do you want to do next?"
Yeah, that's
right. Like if everyone's in agreement up front, you know, that doesn't have to be planned down to the minute, but it's just you can feel it being a waste of time when you're trying to decide.
Yeah.
And then each person's like, I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Right. So.
The I don't knows, yeah.
So, as far as you know, we've got the ideas, right? Like we've already discussed the budget. We kind of have an idea. Yeah, let's go to a beach location. So, what do you think? Who should take the lead on planning?
Good question. Because going back to earlier when I said you and I both know how we like to travel, just the two of us, we kind of have a routine where it's I usually choose not only the location, but where we're going to stay. And then you really run with taking care of the flights or making reservations for special dinners. I think it depends on, I guess, who you're traveling with. I think obviously with our friends, some of them are more planners, like, they like to kind of take the reins on certain things, and others are really laid back and say, hey, you run with it. So I think in that initial conversation that probably should be had once you decide, budget, location, okay, well, especially if maybe one couple has already been to that location, they may already know a lot about the area. If they've already stayed at a great hotel, or they say, hey, we've stayed here. We can speak to the fact that the service is great, or we know some really great hotspots. It could be the place they go to every year. So of course they should be the ones to kind of lead the charge there. And we've done that, where we've maybe gone to a place where we've invited another couple, and it's a place that you and I have been to maybe 4 or 5 times.
Right.
Maybe not the same hotel, but the same location. So I think all of those things can kind of be determining factors on who takes the lead. But some people, I feel like they just don't enjoy it. They're like, just you do take care of it, and I'll just show up.
Right. But I think it's good to have really open communication there too, because somebody may feel stifled because somebody's taking the lead and just running with it, and they're just really excited. They're not trying to be overbearing, but you may not
can even break it up too. Like, hey, you choose a location, and the next person, I'll take care of like setting up, the lunches or the dinners, or maybe even excursions.
If it's that type of trip. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea, because it and just break any awkwardness, even with close friends. When money's involved.
Yeah,
and
it can get awkward.
It can be awkward. So just being like, just have a conversation and just get uncomfortable a little bit, and just have the conversation. It'll save the awkwardness and the potential conflict in the middle of it. Yeah, just have the conversation.
Absolutely.
How far in advance do you think you should plan some of these types of trips?
Well, I think we've done both. We've done kind of a shorter window, or we've had maybe like a last minute, hey, let's get away. But I would say if it's a really big trip, or depending on job demands, maybe 4 months, maybe 6 months if they have small children, because there are other things that come into play where, someone may have a job where they need to get somebody to cover. They have 2 kids that are small. They need grandparents, or a family member to come watch the kids. Right? So I would say 6 months probably maximum. A year's probably, I don't know, a little over the top unless you're going to Europe. But I would say 6 months. I mean, we've done as short as probably 30 days, but
yeah.
So I think it just depends. Yeah, it just depends. But
so what do you think? So we've done a few with couples. We've done kind of an Airbnb. We've done staying at the same hotel but different rooms. We've done not really an Airbnb. It's a condo, but it's kind of split. It kind of feels like a hotel.
Right.
What do you think's best with couples?
There's so many perks to, I think, like if you did an Airbnb and you have couples that you are very similar as far as, the things that you like to do. I think it really depends on kind of like if it's an adventurous trip or a lay on the beach trip or whatever it is, wherever you're going. But with an Airbnb, if you're getting a larger pool of money, you can get something really nice. I mean, you might be able to really knock it out of the park versus just staying in a boring hotel room.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you got an Airbnb and everyone's pulling their money and you have your own private pool or all kinds of amenities. I mean, the Airbnbs that they have now, especially if you look at not only Airbnb, but Home Away, I think that's probably something that will probably be determined based on who you're traveling with.
In the budget.
Yeah. But yeah, if you have a larger pool of money, I mean, you can really go all out and get something pretty nice.
Yep.
With an Airbnb.
So we've done the Airbnb thing, and another tip that I've kind of learned, not the hard way, just we never discussed it until it was right there in front of us, is, if you have a full kitchen, how much cooking are you going to do in the apartment or in the condo? How much, who's going to kind of clean, and what are those kind of responsibilities? Definitely want to have those conversations, because some people may they always just go to the grocery store and load up the fridge, where maybe the other couple
they're like, forget. I mean, if you're on vacation, some people, I mean, I know I'm not really much for, I mean, we've done it before, obviously, especially with kids, but, the whole point of vacation is really relaxing. But I guess if you want to cut some corners and at least have some snacks, and it's good to have alcohol, your wine, your champagne, and whatever, and you're going to save a ton of money if you go that route. At least mix your own drinks if you're going to take them down to the beach. But that is a really good question. Especially for breakfast, that's something they can easily, and we've done that, where it's like, oh, let's just make breakfast, it's easy.
Yeah.
And then all other meals outside.
One thing that maybe not as much when it's just a couple trip, but one of the things we did when we had a family, when we got with a large house down in the Outer Banks, that worked really well, is everybody gets assigned a dinner.
Yeah.
And it made the dinners so much easier. So, one particular family or couple was responsible for that dinner that night, and everybody had their own night, and so everybody else could just relax, and then those people slaved over the kitchen for a few hours.
That makes it fun. Yeah, that way everyone still gets their relaxation in, and then it also kind of is exciting to see what the next couple or family what they're going to make.
Because they tend to they want to make like something they know they're good at and they really like. So it was fun. You could certainly do that with couples too, right? It's like, hey, if you're not going to go out to dinner, we'll do dinner tonight.
You do dinner tomorrow night.
Yeah. Just
make it fun.
Versus sitting there, twiddling your thumbs, like, what are we doing for dinner tonight?
Yeah, having a plan. Yeah. Because I think part of one of the things I think most people typically look forward to on a vacation is the food. I'm going to be able to just. I mean, that's the time. Oh, I'm on vacation. I'm going to splurge and have another cocktail or eat that dessert. So how do you decide though? How do you decide as far as like who's going to pay for what when it comes to food, when it comes to alcohol?
Yeah, this one is one of my pet peeves because it has caused so many just in life, right? It doesn't all have to be vacations.
True.
But just dinners with friends or for work related dinners or just anything, and let's say we're out to eat and there's a bunch of people. We're just 4 people.
Mm-hmm. Pull the calculator out, right?
Yeah, and like look at the receipt and like try to now if one couple, the virtual calculator in their head, whatever it is, right? Like now if one couple decided to get caviar and the other didn't, and because they didn't want to, that's one thing. But if everybody drank about the same amount and ate just about the same types of foods and the bill is $200. I always talk to the other guy. I've been doing this for years, and it always just makes it so much smoother. And just say, you're just going to split the bill. Yeah, it's just super easy. You put your credit card down. He puts his credit card down. Just split it. That way, the servers
keep it simple.
It's simple, right? Because then it gets awkward. Like, well, how much are you? Well, you had the drink, and you only had soda, so yours is more. It's like, oh, come on, people. It'll all even itself out.
Right.
Or the other thing that has worked really well is I'll get dinner tonight. it's on me.
Yeah.
And then the next night, I'll just take, and then it's even one less that,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Then
that
you've
makes
just
it a lot
got,
easier, too.
you know, the key is to make the expensive dinner on them.
Caviar nights on you.
But it just, you know, don't make it awkward. You're
Yeah.
having a good time. Just split it. If you're with 3 couples, split it 3 ways and just call it a night. You know, it's not worth awkwardness for a $15 of difference. It's stupid.
No, I'm with you.
In my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. What about so like let's say we kind of going back to if we did an Airbnb,
right?
What about cleaning? You know, if you don't have
Not
a
my
maid
job.
that's part of your Airbnb.
It's not my job. No, I think I think that, I mean, essentially everyone kind of does their own laundry.
Yeah.
Maybe towels, whoever, just, you know, you just kind of just be selfless a little bit, and just if you see a bunch of towels, throw them in the wash if that's an option. But I think everyone's going to kind of want to do their own laundry.
Right, I would imagine.
But
with the kitchen, I mean, like everybody just kind of pitch in with
I would think,
cleaning
right?
and cleaning
Like it would be
up
frustrating if you wake up and there's a bunch of mess that somebody else left.
Well, typically with an Airbnb, you have to leave certain things in order before you actually leave, before you can actually leave the Airbnb. There's like a checklist they typically leave you. So I think, you know, obviously have that conversation. Oh, you know, let's all just kind of pitch in and make sure we get these things done. For the most part, I don't think we've ever traveled with anybody that's a slob by any means.
Yeah,
so that hasn't been an issue for us. But
I
I'm
think
just
if
throwing it out there.
If you have some pet peeves, or you have some, you know, specific things that you like, or you know, hate to see a messy kitchen, or no dishes are left in the sink, you know, have that conversation with the other couple, and just do it,
or just take the initiative and just do it.
So, kind of along the same lines around communication and the timing of stuff. What do you think is a good tip around sleeping patterns and such? Maybe some people like naps, and some people like to stay up late. What do you think?
This is actually something that I think can be kind of tricky and frustrating, because some people really like to sleep in. That's not really our thing, because I feel like you're on vacation. You're wasting the day. You're wasting the time that you paid for. You know, I don't really know if I've kind of mastered that conversation more. So I think we've had conversation more around like the day before. Hey, you know, what do you guys want to do tomorrow? Before everybody breaks to go, you know, to their room, back to their hotel room, or whatever, to bed, to have that conversation ahead of time. But
it's not.
I feel like you and I are definitely.
You don't want to wake up that morning and be like, "What are we doing today?"
Yeah,
like you kind of want to. You want to have that thing planned out as best as you can.
But if you know, if the other couple is, you know, more inclined to sleep in, maybe having a conversation more around, you know, or suggest, oh, okay, well, you know, Tommy and I are, you know, we're going to go get up and go do our morning run, or we're going to go hit the gym. Why don't we meet at 11 o'clock for brunch? Or, you know, that way we kind of set a time so they can sleep in, and we don't feel like we're sitting there waiting, twiddling our thumbs.
That's a great, right. Just don't be so dogmatic if like your schedules aren't completely aligned. And so what do you think there as well? That's actually a good question. What about doing separate activities if you're on a couples trip? Let's say it's a 4-day trip, right? So should there be?
Well, we've done both. We've had couples where we've done like everything, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and we have tons of fun, especially on a quick weekend trip, which is typically what we go for, only because we have demanding jobs. But we've also had trips with other couples where we've kind of split up and done things and then met later. I probably prefer to do everything, just because that's the whole point of going on a trip together. And then, you know, break if we're going to go to the gym. Maybe, you know, not everybody wants to go to the gym.
But don't be offended if someone else wants to go spend time. They want to spend time together and go, you know, spend a couple hours alone either. You know, I think that's
totally.
Key too, right?
That's fine. I mean, like I said, I'm flexible, but I'm saying if it's a quick weekend trip, you don't have that much time,
right?
You know,
I think
so you might as well take advantage of.
I think you just said something that's really important. Like, just be flexible.
Yeah.
Like, because you may be really great friends in your own little kingdoms that each of us have, that we all have. But yeah, being flexible, I think, is really crucial. So let's talk about just overall. Maybe you have never really gone on a couples trip with someone else. Like, what would you say are the kind of the big benefits of doing a couples trip?
I would say, as far as perks, I would say having someone to do activities with, like let's say your spouse is, you know, into scuba diving
Mm-hmm.
and that's not really your thing. And then the other person, their spouse is also into scuba diving, they can do that. And, you know, maybe I want to go to the spa and get a spa treatment while, you know, you go play golf or vice versa, whatever. But
Yes, I'll go to
it's
the
nice
spa.
to have a friend to go do activities with if all four of us aren't going to do the same thing. Especially like I feel like, you know, going to get a spa treatment, that's something that I would really enjoy to go do with a girlfriend. You
Sure.
know, let's go get facials and, you know, sip champagne. I think the other thing is it creates more of a bond
Yeah, it's
with the
great.
friendship
It's a
because you're
great
building
memories.
a
We talk
memory.
about that all the time. Oh, remember when we went here? I remember
Yeah.
that. That was awesome.
You know, you have certain laughs and, you know, they're just good memories to have together.
Yeah. And for all of you social media aficionados, you have built-in photographers, right? So then
Yeah.
that's just, you know,
That's,
you
yeah.
can avoid the selfie or avoid having to ask others. You can just
Right.
take pictures for each other, right?
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody to say, hey, can you get a picture of us so we don't have like awkward photos? But, you know, more laughs. I mean, obviously, I know I keep you laughing all the time. I'm
Of
hilarious, always just delivering good jokes one after the other. But every now and then
Yes.
it's really good to have somebody else so I can take a break
Oh,
and
jeez.
have somebody else bring in some laughter.
I know.
I
Plus,
mean-
you know, another positive is if you are deciding to kind of rent an Airbnb or some, you know, a house, it kind of can create more options with respect to getting maybe a
Yeah.
nicer place that you wouldn't want to do by yourself.
Right.
Or,
Yeah, because
you
you
know,
don't
would
need all
be,
the space.
yeah.
or
So, you know,
the
it kind of
cost.
open up opportunities for different types of trips, certainly.
Right.
Yeah. And I think a big one is just a chance to really learn more about those people, right?
Right. Because you have more downtime, have an opportunity to have more conversation than you would, you know, if it's a quick dinner or, you know, if you're seeing each other, you know, briefly at the gym or.
Yeah, even if
We're
you're
busy,
close
right?
and your kids play together, you know, that's a different environment when when you've got a cocktail in hand and you're looking at the ocean.
Right.
I mean, it's you know, or whatever it is. You're on a hiking trip, whatever.
Yes.
Or you're just spending more time at dinners with folks. So.
Yeah.
All right.
What would you say? I mean, kind of on that note, what would you
Yeah.
say? What are some fun spots? Maybe spots we've already been to, and then some spots that you've thought of. Oh, yeah, that'd be really cool to go with, you know, this couple or friends of ours. What would you say are some fun spots that you would suggest?
Well, I think one of our funnest trips was Key West. We've only been once, so we've never done it alone. So we don't know what it's like to go to Key West with just the two of us. But we had an absolute blast in Key West.
I think that's definitely a trip that you would go with another couple or go with friends.
Or with friends. Yeah, I mean, you found a great
kids.
place. Yeah, and I wouldn't bring kids there.
I don't think it's a kids trip. That was a blast. So
yeah, and you found a great place. So we had our own space. Each of us had our own room, but we shared. You know, it was a condo, but it was actually a hotel. It was kind of odd. Yeah, but it felt like a condo.
They were all suites. I think that's what they considered.
Well, it had a kitchen, so we went and we got a bunch of alcohol. We got a bunch of food
and snacks. Yeah,
and you know, we always kind of pre-gamed a little bit before we went out and. They had the bikes right there on Duval Street, and we just had, oh my gosh, we just had an absolute blast.
Yeah,
it was a great
I think
trip.
we probably laughed 90% of the time. It was a really good time.
Yeah. What do you think about Las Vegas for a couple's trip?
Well, we've done Las Vegas as a couple, with another couple, and it was a really good time. I mean, you can do Vegas so many different ways. I think that also would probably be, Vegas is a place that I think you definitely need to have that conversation around. What type of Vegas trip do you want? They could be big gamblers.
Yeah, and want to stay up all night gambling and, you know, sleep in, and we're not. So we like the
if they're
the
foodies,
food, the fun. Yeah, and that's a kind of place where the food could get way out of hand. So
you could spend some serious money.
Where you're gonna, I mean, but then again, we had one of our best memories was when we went to Joel Robuchon with you know, with our friends, and we just, you know, we had committed that we were going to spend a bunch of money on that dinner that night.
Yeah, but we were all on the same page. We had the conversation ahead of time. We knew that this was going to be our group splurge.
Right. And it was great. We had a great time. We still talk about that when we see them.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I think Miami is really great from like just because of where we live. Like it's can be a really great quick weekend trip. Now we haven't done it with another couple. But I would think it's probably on our short list of a place to go with another couple. We have a really great time because it's easy to get to. great dining, so many great places to stay. Yeah, a ton of options. So I think we can even be creative if a budget is even limited.
We've definitely, I mean, Grand Cayman is if not our top, one of our top 3 kind of Caribbean destinations to go to. So we know it well. We've done a lot of alone trips, but we've also done a couples trip there, and it was great. And they knew that we knew the island really well, so they had never been, so they kind of just let us.
Yeah, that was fun.
I mean, we didn't know, we weren't overbearing with, hey, let's try this, let's do this, but they kind of let us lead since we knew all the places, and it was awesome.
It was good it's fun to kind of share some of the things that are special to you with your friends, because it's something we've done Grand Cayman for years.
Right.
We kind of have like our regular spots we go to. So it was fun to share that experience with somebody else. You know, we've done Arizona. That was really fun, you know, and that's kind of an example of like, you went golfing, we went to the spa.
Right.
You know, so that was a perfect example of that, where we kind of split to do different activities.
Yeah.
And then got together for meals and stuff like that. And so that was really nice. And I think that's probably more of a trip where you would probably go on that kind of trip with a couple that likes to be really active, because there's so many outdoor activities there.
Depending on where you go too, right? If you stay in the Phoenix area, or if you go up to Sedona and there's, you know, hiking, and I mean, even in Vegas, you can split it up and do like adventurous stuff, and then still do the glam and the gambling. I mean, there's a lot of options out there. You know, one of the places there's 2 places. What'd you say?
I said I like how you said glam.
That's right. You know, so there's 2 places there's one place we've never been, period, and then there's another that, you know, we've gone. But what do you think about Turks and Caicos as a couples trip?
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be a lot of fun, especially because now Turks and Caicos has added they've made some changes with their resorts, so a lot of them are.
They've really gone the all-inclusive route, right?
They've gone the all-inclusive route, but they've done it where you can. Some of them they have multiple, so you can like hop to different ones.
Yeah.
And so you can try different spots along the island, and it's all still under that same umbrella, which is nice. But Turks and Caicos, I think, would be great to go with another couple. We've only done it together, but I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, Grace Bay, the beach is just it's just amazing. But that's definitely one more where you guys are all committed, both couples or 3 couples are all committed to maybe a little bit more downtime versus some of the other locations.
It's more of a sleepy island.
It's a little bit sleepy. Yeah. There's certainly, you know, if you're into diving and snorkeling, there's places to go, but it's not as active as
it's not
even
Vegas.
Cayman. And Cayman can be pretty laid back too, but it's definitely more active than Turks.
Oh yeah.
What about Charleston? We keep hearing all these great things about Charleston.
I've heard so many good things. You know, it's becoming a huge, well, I think it has, I'm probably behind the 8 ball here, but I think it's a huge foodie town. I think one of the neat things that I've noticed about Charleston is you can stay pretty centrally located, and really once you're there, walk everywhere. You know, it makes it kind of like Key West. We walked to like all the bars, all the restaurants, except we had bikes too. But other than that, I mean, it was easy to, you know, just kind of, you know, hit all the different spots throughout the night and not have to worry about driving or probably even spending money on an Uber. But I would love to try Charleston. Maybe that's something we can do this year, maybe this fall. This summer is probably going to be blistering hot.
I wouldn't do Charleston in summertime.
I wouldn't do that. But I'm excited now that we're having this conversation.
I know, now that we've all been
stuck in the house. Oh my gosh, the cabin fever is real. I think we need to start planning our next trip.
I think it sounds like a fantastic idea.
Right? We need to hit up some of our friends and say, when are you going to be ready to leave the house?
Okay, so we're going to go pour a glass of wine and plan our next trip. While we do that, we would love to hear from you. If you have any comments about today's episode or have any funny or crazy stories about your couples trips, please send us an email to feedback@destinationmarriagepodcast.com.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if so, please continue to listen on Podbean, iTunes, or Spotify, and hit subscribe. Also, visit us at destinationmarriagepodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram at destination_marriage, and be sure to tune in to our next episode.